Hello there, this is Andrew and Nick, back once again. As we work our way outside of Tool and A Perfect Circle, we are touching on Puscifer. We've listened to a couple of songs off the EP work. This is Don't Shoot the Messenger EP work. So next up we have Sour Grapes.
Huh.
And I want to say this is the first time outside of Tool that you get a Reverend Maynard experience. We have a brief mention of this persona, this character, Reverend Maynard, all the way back on Disgustipated. So
No, and I remember references to Reverend Maynard through subscriber comments and such as well.
yeah, and exactly. It's just this persona that he does. When you go to a Puscifer show or even a Tool show, generally he's dressed up as something. He's doing something. He's always not himself, it seems like. Or is he? It's enigmatic. But yeah, so this is kind of what I remember Reverend Maynard looking like when I heard this song live about a decade ago. And yeah, it's kind of a fever dream thing going on. And these tracks with Reverend Maynard are really fun. And you're a real fun guy. And I wanted to just share it with you. And, going with our theme, it's a great song. So
It looks like
yeah.
he's having a great time. Are you kidding? I mean, if you're going to have an audience, why not mess around?
And, I really feel like when it came down to the Puscifer stuff that, like, since he's in control of it and it's more like this is for play, that he really, I mean, they take it seriously, obviously, but
Yeah.
he gets to let himself not take it so seriously, and it's more fun than trying to give a big middle finger to a record company who's not going to want, a track like this. Quite frankly, it's gonna be a joyride from what I'm at. What do you know about Sour Grapes? I mean, multi-layer messaging, Sour Grapes. Are you familiar with the fable, the fox and the sour grapes?
Yeah, sour grapes also, I mean, things don't turn out the way you wanted to turn out, and here you are left with your sour grapes, and instead of letting them go to waste, I guess you might as well eat them too.
Well, and specifically in the fable, it's that the fox couldn't get the grapes.
Right.
And so it convinced himself that it didn't want the grapes because they were sour anyways. It was going to go off and forage for something else. So it was like, if it's really not worth it, then don't even bother. Kind of a backhanded message, or at least that's the backhanded message. I got it like
we tell ourselves these kind of things to settle for things that we thought we really wanted, or maybe we even actually do discover that the grapes are sour and that we ought not be wanting them anyway. I mean, it can go both ways for sure.
Yeah, so like I said, this one should be a lot of fun. Reverend Maynard's gonna his jowls a little bit here and there at us and give us, basically it's probably like, I imagine it's what he experienced at the ripe old age of 11 in his Baptist upbringing, these waggy finger kind of preacher
Baptist
lessons.
Or Methodist, or
either way. I'm sorry, not sorry.
Right. So before we get anybody even more angry at us, let's go ahead and listen to Sour Grapes. Here we go.
And the angel of the Lord led me into the belly of the Holy Mother, a chamber black as pitch, but I felt no fear, only comfort, for I was as a child in the womb. And she made me peer through yonder portal, which looked upon the heavens, and behold, a morning angel. She ascended slowly from far beyond the horizon, her light like a heavenly finger pointing the way. And on yonder wall she traced for me a path which led me 5 directions, 8 winters to each, and behold, as my feet landed firmly upon the final winter of the second score, there appeared before me a heavenly star, Rejoice all those who look up and sway with the wind, who look down and dance with the shifting of the soul, who swim with the movement of the tides, who seek the truth around them and discover we are and have always been in paradise, the reflections of heaven on earth. Amen.
Amen. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, who would think that all you have to do is put a really good message and a promising message and a lot of hope right out there in front, and then remind people that if you don't believe in Jesus, you're not even going to aspire to it. You can't get it at all. So
Oh, but I don't know that's what he's doing.
I
In
feel
fact,
like that's what he's doing right at the end. He's like, don't
no,
forget,
I
because
don't
that's how it
know.
sounds. That's how the sermon
Because
plays
listen,
out to me.
listen. He's like, you know, the only evil in the world is blind faith and ignorance,
He
right?
does say that.
And
That's the
he's
third
talking
in
about
the
what's
third verse.
right. This is what the evil is, and what the truth is that we are the change. We are the reflections of the divine, right? And and I think the question is begged: what do we do to be right with Jesus? What does it mean? Because it obviously isn't going to church and
Well, and I feel
believing.
like the question is to question, quite
Yes,
frankly.
but
That's
so
where my
it's,
mind goes.
but I don't feel like he's saying to be right with Jesus, you've got to go to church, you've got to take communion,
Well,
you've got to
I
do.
say he's poking fun at it. Obviously, he's poking fun at it. And it's hilarious to me because it's what I would hear as a small child is
Yeah.
that here's this great message, and then, but you need to get it directly through Jesus Christ as an individual and as a person, and that there's no other way, because if you went another way, the grapes have soured. You couldn't just get it through him.
No,
That's what I hear on
the
the
way
back of
I
that.
hear it, the way I hear it is that all this good stuff, I mean, all the good stuff, even in your faith, is going to be sour grapes with you unless you get it right with Jesus. I'm hearing it from the other direction that they
Oh, okay,
for the
okay. So,
faithful, for
okay,
the person
no, you're
who's
totally talking about, yeah,
right, that because
yeah, I
how
got you.
many Bible thumpers don't
Right,
want to do what JC would do,
right.
right?
Yeah,
And it
okay.
is sour
That's
grapes
the
for them
perspective.
because they're not right with him. And I don't know how many times I've called out friends and family as hypocrites because their political or their social attitudes are contrary to their professed religious beliefs.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I made a post the other day not too long ago. Somebody was defending. Now, I don't defend people that break the law. Law and justice are separate, and cause and effect sometimes bleed over those lines. So, when something gets destroyed in the street because there's 100,000 people mad about something, do I think the person who destroyed the thing might need to face some kind of prosecution? Possibly. He crossed the line, but what is the justice? Probably going to be a lot lower, because if we want to look at what Jesus did, when he got mad at some law-abiding Jews, he rolled into the temple with a whip, kicking over tables and hitting people.
Right?
So
And that's
these are things that Jesus would do.
it's the same thing
Does it?
Karen does every single time she gets upset about having to wear her mask in the store. She starts breaking
Frankly,
stuff, but she's the first person to yell about the protesters who are rioting and breaking things. Right? Again, it's the
right, exactly.
hypocrisy, right? And so
Right, and it's such a, yeah,
I think that's what
hypocrisy.
we're really getting at. And what's interesting here is, okay, in Judaism, we talk about our father Abraham, our father Isaac, our father Jacob. We talk about our teacher Moshe or Moses. But Joseph, who became the king of Egypt, right? He was sold into slavery and he became the viceroy of Egypt. I don't know if you remember this story much,
Yeah,
but it's
he had
kind of in between
the
Jacob
coat
and
with the
Moses.
colors.
Yeah, exactly. So he's called Joseph the Righteous. And he's called Joseph the Righteous because he justifies everything that happened to him. He knows that he became a slave and he suffered everything he suffered, and that also that in the end he could become the viceroy of Egypt and provide for his family who had to escape the famine. So he
Wow, and
just
I see a direct correlation with, people that talk about, you need to have roots in reality and maybe not be born a billionaire to control the masses. Maybe you should be someone who never was and aspired to that level to really get good perspective. You know, we
Well,
talk about this all day, and putting people in positions that
in the end,
have a real experience in what it takes to take care of a small family.
well,
You know, there's a big difference.
in the end, from my perspective with this, right, with the righteous person, again, the righteous person is someone who justifies the Creator, even all the bad, all the good, all of it together. The righteous person accepts that. In Hebrew, it's tzaddik, which means also kind of balanced, right? They balance the scales. They understand that all the good and all the bad is it's all from love. It's all because we're going in the one direction together. We're going towards that correction together, and everything that happens to us is from the perspective of divine love. And so the person who justifies the Creator with that attitude, who rolls with the changes, right? Who swims in the tides, who dances on the shifting sands, right?
Moves through the wind.
Exactly. This is the true righteous person, right? And so when we talk about, you know, getting right with Jesus, maybe it's, I mean, I'm not personally interested in getting right with Jesus, but if we're talking about the symbol of Jesus and what that means,
it's a metaphor,
right? If we talk about the symbol and what that means for Christians and the righteousness of Jesus, well, Jesus is, in a lot of ways, he's modeled after Joseph.
And it's not so much that you want to be Jesus as you want to be Christ-like.
You want to
you should aspire to the values.
Yeah.
And you know, you wouldn't catch me dead walking into a Sunday service at this point in my life, because it's not even what's going on, you know. And I think a lot of people see that. You know, if there's one thing I'm certain about Maynard, it's he was able to see the hypocrisy.
Right.
And it doesn't take more than one or two of his songs to go, wait a second, this guy's got a problem with that.
Caveat, there are hypocritical Jews. But you know,
I mean, we're all human.
We have a system. We have a very ancient system that's, you know, really focused at not being hypocritical. For those of us who get around to those books.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hypocrites exist everywhere in every culture. I mean, we're all hypocritical at some point too. It's something that we really all have to look in the face of. And again, another reason why we're putting all this together is because these are great messages, and it's great music, good perspective from you, my friend, and good comments from everybody out there. So I hope you all like the video. Subscribe to us if you haven't already. Until next time, we'll take a look at another track. Thank you very much for joining.
Great. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.